Welcome to part 2 of Almost a Mountain Too Far. This part we come from Kothe to the summit of Mera Peak. In part 1 I did say that the hardest part of the trek was over. What I meant with that was that the constant gaining of elevation and then losing that elevation only to go back up again took its toll. The heat in the jungle, the leeches, and they were tough areas, but we had to cover that ground in order to get to the Hinko Valley. Now that we're in the Hinko Valley, the only way is up. And the new barriers are against us. They're the cold and altitude. Now each of them individually, if not treated with respect, can cause you major issues. But combine the two together, again, if you don't look after yourself, it can be fatal. We had great leadership in PK and Shawang and the Sherpas and the porters. But you have to be in the same frame of mind. You have to be willing to put yourself through those struggles. And we did struggle, believe me. But it was a blast. And in order to achieve your goal, you got to break those barriers. They were tough things to break. It was fun. But by heck, was it tough. This guy was a legend in my eyes, Genki. I first met him some 35 years ago when we were doing the Cyprus walkabout. And what a place to meet in the middle of Nepal for the first time in all those years. Now, he's an all-round good egg, top mountain guide, ski instructor. And the reason for him being there, he'd just taken a group of 12 to 14 Muslim ladies up to the summit, or towards the summit of Mera Peak. Because of the harsh conditions, however, only one of those were able to summit. Now, because of their religion, they had a medic of their own, and we first saw them when the rest of the team was being treated for frostbite and other cold-related issues. And we asked Genki if he would ask their medic if she could have a look at Andy and Kent's to check out the severity of their AMS. And she did just that. And her findings made their decision to leave the group a lot easier. Their condition was quite serious and they had no choice but to leave. So I want to say thanks, Genki, for doing that for us. And hopefully it's not another 30 years before we meet again. Thank you. Well, just a quick video this morning. My battery is running out. Let's see if I can get it charged. But on the right there, you see the snow-capped mountain. That's our inevitable, hopefully, destination, Mera Peak. Still seems so distant, but it is 5 days away. But yes, it's a cold morning here. The pipes are frozen. There's our accommodation. It was really good. Slept quite well. We're at an elevation of 3,600 or something. And today we're going to go up to Tangneck, which is about 4,000, or some point over 4,000 metres. Well, we're going to see how the team is today. I think the team dynamics are about to change again, but we'll see how everybody feels. Ken's in a bad way, or was yesterday. But we'll see how he feels today after the briefing at breakfast. But yeah, catch you later.
There we go, heading up towards the goal.
So you can show the Mera Peak on the back.
All the way up there. Oh, Sion's forgotten something. Hey! Good luck, guys.
That's the Hinku River. The trail over to Tangneck was a good one. No more were the harsh uphill slugs to higher elevation, only to drop back down and then gain that elevation again. And whilst that was great for acclimatization, it was hard. And the fact that now we've lost 3 members of our team, that bears witness to that. There was just Susie and I left. We were heading up alongside Chawang, our climbing guide. PK, our lead guide, stayed behind to make sure that Andy and Ken got their helicopter back to Luckla safely, and they would head back to then Kathmandu where they would get medical treatment. And PK would then join us once we got up into Tangneck. Now Tangneck sits at an elevation of about 4,350 metres, and whilst we touched on that elevation coming over a pass on our way to Kothe, it was only a brief time at that height. This time we'll be sleeping up there for 2 nights. Tomorrow would be an acclimatization day where we would head up to about 5,000 metres. Now already you can start to feel the thinness in the air. So times were getting exciting now. But not only that, it was getting colder. The temperatures really were starting to drop at night. So it was all to look forward to. I can't wait. Well, here we have TW and myself and little Susie. It's only a short day today, about 5 hours or so, 5-6 hours, and all good. All good. Had a scrummy breakfast and can't wait to get there. Well, me and Susie have now arrived in... No.
Kothe.
No, Tang...
Kothe.
No,
Tangneck.
We've just arrived in Tangneck. Normally takes 5 or 6 hours. We took 4.5, a little bit fast, I think. But beautiful day, hot weather, but cold breeze. But yeah, we're here now. Spent 2 days here, loving it. Well, what do you know? We've arrived here in Tangneck, and I got a double room. Oh my god! And quilts. Oh, this is good. I'm glad you're here for 2 nights. Anyway, gotta go. Well, acclimatization day today. And to acclimatise, we're going to go up there. It's going to take us up to about 5,200 metres. Point to note, for me, I've just taken my first Diamox. I'm told it's going to help the breathing, so if it all works. But yeah, we'll catch you in a bit. I'm just sitting over 4,500 metres, and there's the valley we're going up to Kary. Just sitting in a little gully down there, onto the glacier, and then eventually up to the top of that little beauty. And we also caught sight of our first avalanche. It was only a small one, and it was quite far away, but it did show you the awesome power that nature has. An avalanche just happened over there. And for the first time on this trip, we were able to touch snow. Well, here we are now at 5,060 metres. First time above 5,000 this trip. I want to thank these guys for hauling our asses up here. But yeah, what a brilliant view from up here. Thank you. Dhanyavad. Today was our first acclimatization day. And it was well needed. It was getting colder at night. They'd light the wood burner for a few hours in the evening when you were having your evening meal. When they stopped putting the wood on the fire, it didn't take long for that heat to leave. And it also didn't take long for the people huddled round that warm wood burner to leave, to go to their dorms, to get in their sleeping bag. And believe me, you take your outer layer off, and you'd get into your sleeping bag pretty much dressed, socks, hat. And these are things that you wouldn't take off for at least a week. You'd get up in the morning and you put your next layer on, whatever was needed to keep you warm through that day. Well, it's our final couple of hours here in Tangneck. There's our lead guide PK, clearing himself, if you like. But we're going to be heading up there today, up to Kary. We'll spend 2 days there before heading off onto the glacier, go around this huge mountain, and at some point standing on top. It's been an interesting day yesterday. We went up there to an elevation of 5,060 metres, and it shows how immortal we really are against these mountains. The air is so thin. It was a bit of a struggle, but absolutely majestic. Anyway, I've got to go because I've got to put my glove back on before it freezes. I had to get up most mornings to answer the call of nature. Call it an age thing, but it did have advantages. I was able to go into where the chefs prepared the breakfast, and already it was quite warm in there. So from leaving my warm sleeping bag, going out into the freezing cold, and then back into the warm, and they'd give you a cup of tea. PK would often be sat there talking to the chefs. So it was nice to have a chin wag and get ready for the day, huddled there with a nice cup of tea. It was brilliant. I made a habit of it. Why not? Just at the start of the snow line there. Yesterday we were up there at 5,060 metres, and we were looking down at this beautiful lake caused by snowfall. Absolutely outstanding. We've just arrived at a tea house halfway between Tangneck and Kary, and
How are you? It's a nice place, isn't it?
what a view. That's a couple of hours to go before we reach Kary. But loving this, look at that. At some point in the near future, hopefully, we'll be up there. Oh, we're now at Kary, an elevation of just over 5,000 metres. It's alright to breathe if you're not doing anything. I have to say. It was a nice walk up here. We went to visit a nice lake on the steep parts of the climb. It was a bit of a struggle, but there's no race. We've got plenty of time. And then after we'd had lunch, about 2:15, we went up over a hill and did another couple of 100 meters elevation, which was really good because it'll acclimatise us for tomorrow. Sort of up there, you can't see it now. But yeah, we're at 5,000 meters and we went up to 5,200 and something or other. Grab tea now and then do some rope work and then take the evening as it comes. We're staying here tomorrow, but we'll do another acclimatization walk. I don't know where we'll go. No, we haven't had a briefing yet. But yeah, it's going to be fun and it's getting seriously real now. If you're going to take Diamox, just be aware of its side effects. The tingly fingers. Always felt like, for me, it felt like my hands were cold. And the constant need to get up in the middle of the night, the constant need to pee, getting out of a warm sleeping bag into the freezing cold. And that can lead to disruptive night's sleep and will eventually affect your day's trekking. So, yeah, if you're going to take it, just be aware of those things. The acclimatization day from Kary was really tough. It was a struggle to get up to the high ground, up to over 5,000 meters, and then to cross a massive boulder field. It was just uneasy going. I hate boulder fields. And then once we got there, we got onto a glacier, and there we were roped up for the first time. Got onto the glacier, and in parts the snow was quite soft, or the ice was quite soft, and that made it really energy sapping, difficult going. But it was a blast. It was great, and it was cold. So it was our first trial really of actually being on the ice and being roped together, and I think that made a difference to us, a great difference. It was great when we got back there, but yeah, loved it. Well, we're now on the glacier, don't know what elevation, somewhere above 5,000 metres, and there's a guide, what a man he is, and I'll just switch over. There's Susie and PK. Hey, look at that view. Outstanding. Loving it. Heading back down. lesson as this. Great fun. Last night was cold, but it's getting harder to sleep now, not because of the cold, but more so because of the anticipation of what lay ahead. We were so close. We thought yesterday was tough. Great work we did on the glacier, but today we were going on to the main glacier. We were leaving Kary and we're going to head up to Mera Base Camp, then up to Crampon Point, and then to High Camp. We were getting at the sharp end of the stick now, and tonight we were going to be intense. So if we thought it was cold last night, tonight we're going to be at 5,800 metres and intense. Can't wait. We're at Mera Base Camp, and that's where we're going to be going up. Cool. If I could offer one piece of advice, it would be never pass up the opportunity to take a dump. Don't do what I did and leave it till you got to Crampon Point, got your big plastic boots on and your big crampons and everything, and go, I'm not going to make it to High Camp. There's nowhere to hide. So, well, you can be out of sight from those at Crampon Point, but you can't be out of sight from those at Base Camp. It's just a case of waving to them and saying, nothing to see here. So, if you need to go, make sure you go when you get to Base Camp. Well, there's Base Camp. We've come up quite far. Hey everybody.
Hey! Be good, everyone.
And that rocky outcrop over there, that's where Base Camp is, High Camp. So, we've come a long way. Well, it's been quite an exhausting walk up here, really. Look behind me, you can almost see our destination. Let's just stop for something to eat. We're about 5-4 something or other. I'm going to switch you over, and a little bit with the smoke billowing off is Everest. So what do you know? What a stunning view from up here. Absolutely gorgeous. We're just going to follow this trail up, and I think by that rocky outcrop there, that's the High Camp. So, all well so far. Well, I have to say, that was exhausted. We've now arrived at High Camp, which is around about 5,780 metres. Set off this morning at 8, and so it would take us about 8 hours. It took us about 6 hours 20. The pace wasn't particularly fast. But by we gained 870 metres in that short time. Although it didn't seem like a short time. But I'm going to take some pictures of it and show you the view. But I'll just take my jacket off, put the high altitude jacket on, take my high altitude boots off, and I'm having a cup of lemon tea. But by heck, what an exhausting journey. And tomorrow's going to be an even longer day. Don't you just love this? Well, this is high camp. A big massive rock. And over there, is our original target. I mean, look at that. This is my humble abode. But fantastic room with a view. I thought I'd get you this now. Because when that sun goes down, it's going to turn into freezer mode. But awesome. Been here since about 2:15. And it's about, well, it's minus double figures already. But I'm in a nice little one up, and I've got all the kit on just to keep me bloody warm. But yeah, it's a slog up here, mind. Yeah, we've had a hot drink, some snacks. It'll be an early night tonight because we've got an early start in the morning. But by heck am I feeling it. I'm getting old. 600 and something metres to go. But that'll start in the early hours in the morning. I'm struggling a little bit, but you know, we made it in 6.5 hours, where I think they said we should do it in 8. The Glacier walk was really, really tough. Thought it was never going to end. But yeah, we should summit tomorrow. The weather forecast is pretty good, and there's a long way back down. And for that, I can't wait. As soon as I get the briefing, I'm off to bed. But yeah, no else to say really. It was an easy -10 in my tent when I got the call to get up on summit day. I fumbled round in the hood of my sleeping bag to find my liner gloves, and then locate my head torch, put that on so I could get dressed. I was already half dressed, it was that cold. But I was looking forward to a hot drink, and breakfast wouldn't be long. So once I had a cup of hot water in me, I was ready to go. I was a little anxious, I have to say, because I did struggle on the way up to high camp. And I was wondering how Susie felt in her tent, some 20 metres away from mine. Today was going to be really, really tough. And at some point, I was actually worried. But this is what we trained for over a year. And I couldn't believe that we were actually here at high camp, waiting to go. And there's no place that I would have rather been than where I was. Despite the cold, I couldn't wait to get started, and I did wonder what lay ahead. It's not long after 2 o'clock. I've had 2 cups of hot water and a cup of black tea, It's about -10 at the moment inside here. Breakfast is on its way. And today should be quite interesting. One more day is hard, really push. And it's all downhill. Well, mostly anyway. So, catch up with you later. As we left High Camp, I went through the worst feeling that I'd ever experienced on any adventure I'd been on. The dark, the cold, looking up and seeing the head torches still climbing what seemed like miles ahead. I was freezing cold, and it took me a while to adjust. I had the buff covering my nose and my mouth so I wouldn't breathe in the cold air. Yet, as I breathed out, it's caused my glasses to steam up, and I had to eventually take them off. But I wouldn't be able to do that once that sun came up. It was a tough period, and I had to dig deep. But I did, and I'm so glad. As the dawn sun rose in the east and its glimmer gently caressed the glacier that we were on, my weary eyes were too tired to witness its beauty. My shattered body edging forward the best I could force it, little step by little step, taking breathing when we needed to, unhurried by Passang, who said that it was our trip. We'd get there. We just got to keep moving bit by bit. It was so cold that I could feel the chill of the glacier through me crampons and through me plastic summit boots. And my hands clenched into fists inside my down-filled gloves, hardly able to grasp my trekking poles. But it was cold. Now I followed the heels of Susie, who was roped up in front of me, and we gave each other encouragement. I knew she felt the same. We're almost there. We're getting there. We're gonna make it. That's all we could say. But quite often those words were drowned out by the strong -25 gusts of wind. But when you looked up and saw head torches in front of you still climbing, it just came to that summit is probably still a soul-destroying 2 hours away. But we kept plugging away, and eventually we levelled out. We could see it. We were so close. We could see people on the top. We were that close. And the struggle that we went through the dark in the early hours of the morning, has made it worth it. It was absolutely outstanding. We wouldn't be long now before we were standing on the edge of our dreams. We'd almost done it. I spoke before that Mera Peak had a sting in its tail on the summit approach. And it did. I couldn't believe it. We were shattered, really shattered. The ground levelled off, which gave us some respite from the long climb that we'd just gone through during the night or the early hours of the morning. And we stood there in amazement and looked at what lay ahead. It was tough. Roped up bit by bit, small step by small step. Susie actually so emotional that when she got to the summit, she couldn't stop crying. And for me, I was just so glad that this old fossil had actually made it. We were standing on the edge of our dreams. And it was such a great feeling. But it wasn't over. We had to get off. It was so cold. Those minus 25-degree gusts of wind meant that we couldn't take our gloves off to take photos. That was down to PK, and he did a great job. But we felt great, and all the hardship was worth it. This is a statement of what Susie said and how she felt when she woke at high camp. She said, "This is the most spectacular place I have ever stayed. But I was at my lowest, physically and mentally. I had a banging headache, which I'd never experienced before. And I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep at all. I nearly told Pasang that the three of you should go together and leave me here. But once we roped up, knowing that you were behind me, that gave me the courage and the strength to continue on to the summit. Eventually, we had the summit to ourselves for a full 10 minutes. And I was so emotional when I stepped onto that summit that I couldn't stop crying. I want to say thank you to Pasang, Chawang and you, Rob, for helping me stand on a summit and help me realize my dream.
This is where we're coming from. So far back last month, Kanchenjunga, Chambangi Mall, Nakanu, Boruche, Mount Everest, Kothe, Nukche, here's our team.